Thank you very much, and good afternoon, everybody. It gives me great pleasure to greet you on behalf of Microsoft and me personally. I'm second time in beautiful Tallinn, beautiful Estonia. Really like the country, and it surpassed my expectations when I was first time in May. So I like the attitude, I like the positivity, I like entrepreneurship, and I'll be really pleased to share what I know about digital transformation, and hope that you will be interested as well. So, topic was more related about digital transformation. I'll try to move so that the other people see. And to avoid, different definition of digital transformation, I went to the Wikipedia. So it's basically consequence and changes that are happening based on application of IT on human society. So we don't talk anymore about businesses. We talk about our business life, personal life, free time, education, how we communicate with customers, how we communicate with our family. Everything is changing. And for those that are not too young, I know my wife frequently tells me if we are at lunch, dinner or something, look, why is everybody on mobile phones? I have no clue. It's 21st century. So definitely things are changing, and technology is changing the way we work and do. So when we talk about digital transformation, how did we come to? So we are basically today at the fourth industrial revolution. Started in 18th century, and basically two things, production, automation, and connectivity. And if you remember from school, it started when new machinery was with steam invented, and people started to produce faster than they did with normal tools. And because of this production, there was also need to exchange products, so people start to build bridges and throw away mountains to go to the other side. And 100 years later, electricity came. So suddenly this production and connectivity became a little bit more massive. Division of labor started. People started to be identified based on what they do. And in 20th century, computers and IT came, and we talked very sophisticated automation, production, and very sophisticated communication. And then what happened at the beginning of 21st century, something that we call now digital transformation, fourth industrial revolution, or also called Industry 4.0. When the IT started in 71 with Intel invented first transistor, very small at that time, 2,300 transistors. And when I am in such situation, I show my keychain. It has a chip. This is physical chip inside. 15 times 15 millimeters, it has printed on it 234 million transistors. This was 15 years ago. Chip. Now, Skylake from Intel has around 1.75 billion transistors printed on the chips. Can you imagine that technology? It's 10 nanometers width of the printouts, and the future will bring, in fact 14, future is should bring this year 10, and already it's considered that in future carbon nanotubes will be used in order to try to target electrons, i.e. electrical power, to the right processor, and also eliminate the dissipation of electrons, which then generate heat. When you look at today modern data centers, 2/3 of electricity is used for powering computers, 1/3 for cooling. And then what happened 4 years later? Microsoft appeared and brought life to those computers with the software and great vision. Also those who remember the vision of Bill Gates that computers will be on every table, on every desktop in the future. Some people say, yeah, nice try. Guess what, today it's happening. And all of us, when you look at number of computers, not only computers that we have on a desktop, but everything that is powered by chip. And 40 years later, today we have digital transformation, digital economy. The term is, by the way, invented by Don Tapscott in 1995, digital economy. Now, for those that like big politics, Davos, World Economic Forum, EU had estimated the value of digital transformation at about $3.2 billion. McKinsey said overall value till 2025 of digital economy and the digital transformation could be for the society $100 trillion. Why I'm saying this? Because, you know, when you think about business, when you think about your future, you want to put your efforts, money, skills where the biggest opportunities are. And digital transformation or digital area is definitely there. This slide I use frequently. It's very outdated, as you can see, very outdated. But it shows you pace of development. So child born today, when he or she starts the school in 7 years, the cost of chip that will carry capacity of human brain will cost $1,000. So in the next 7 years. And then when the child finishes high school, or around that time, he or she would be able to buy the same capacity chip for 1 cent. 42 years later, the chip that will have capacity of human mankind will cost 1 cent. This is the fact. If you follow Moore's law, it is the fact. So imagine the consequences, and it's going vice versa. So technology is enabling people to create something new, which in return is requesting some new technology, and you have closed loops. And by the way, when you look at capacity of human brain, you know, it is 2 times 10 with 16 zeros. It's really up to now, people were dreaming in the future, can we have something that can mimic human brain so that we can do other smart things. This shows you what is next. So it is known today that really, irrespective how fast this capacity of chip is growing, and Moore's law says every 12 to 18 months, chips will either double the speed or will be half the cost. Now, thanks to the cloud computing, you don't need anymore really to rely on very fast chips. This is how Microsoft data center looks like in building. For your information, Microsoft standard data center has size of 16 football field, and you can park there 32 Boeing planes. Why am I telling this? Whenever you think about, we have capacity, we have skills, we can fight about security. Think about this. Or we don't need cloud, you know, we can do it. Imagine economy of scale. If you have 500,000 of servers, what you can provide in terms of TCO and cost per unit, or if you have 1, 5, 10, 100 servers. And this is how, by the way, cloud computing started. You know, people wanted to have economy of scale. And how it looks like inside. If you think about your regular data center, it's not it. It's a container with 2,000 servers. Next time it will be 4,000 servers. A truck comes, just plugs it in. If 4, 5, 10 of them fail, you don't fix them. You bring in another container. And by the way, today I'm not sure how many data centers we have around the world. Whatever I tell you could be wrong. It's about 30. And footprint is larger than Amazon and Google combined, just to show you how big coverage is. How it would look like in the future. Because, for example, in the US, data centers use around 2% of electricity. It's similar to the airline industry. Obviously, pressure is very much on savings and running the data center cost. So 5th generation of data center could be even on the open. And when Microsoft is looking where to put them, usually you look at countries that are stable politically, that have very cheap sources of energy, and eventually on a higher altitude, plus some cold wind, so that you really minimize the amount of energy you want to spend. Today, what is happening today? So Apollo 11, you have more power in your pocket than that was built in Apollo 11 that landed somewhere in the space. Can you imagine? So everybody is having supercomputer in the pocket. And what is interesting today, 73% of the population in the world have mobile phones. However, only 39% is connected to internet. So whatever we think about dreaming business, there is huge opportunity to connect other people and extend what we do, irrespective is it free of charge or build or some other things that you want to do in your life. On the other side, if I would like you today to remember one picture, this is the one. And I'll tell you why. People very often confuse digital transformation with digitization, digital automation. Digital transformation is essentially changing the way you work, you do, you learn, you have fun, you communicate. And why this is resembling digital transformation? Because when you go through digital transformation in your businesses, you cannot go back. So it's not like, oh, we created the wrong system, let's go back. No, you cannot. Once you do it, you cannot. So think about this. That's the transformation. You want to do something absolutely differently, better, faster, cheaper, more efficient, more effective than you have ever done before. And when you look, the most famous cases on digital transformation, I believe the most misused are Uber and Airbnb, the largest transporting company, which doesn't have any single driver or a car, or largest company that is renting real estate that you can rent igloo or castle or whatever you want, and they don't own anything. By the way, today I looked at Uber. So we are talking about largest transportation company. Have you heard for Didi Cushing? Is the Chinese Uber. Didi Cushing in 2015 had 1.4 billion rides, while Uber had 1 billion. October 2016, Uber had 50,000 rides, 50 million rides. Didi Cushing in December 2016, 200 million. Uber's market value was 68 billion at the peak. Now I believe it's around 40 billion because of the challenges with CEO. Didi Cushing market value is around $50 billion. So this thing can change. Even that we are talking about largest companies of this kind, it can change. But imagine the model. So if you look at Croatia, I don't know about Estonia, but every now and then we have taxi drivers protesting to the government, requesting that Uber gets forbidden in Croatia. Will Airbnb affect hotels? Yes. Will hotels disappear? No. Will they have to change? Yes. So basically, in terms of transportation, you always have to be on. You have to think what you will be doing, you have to think what your competition will be doing, and you have to think about competition that doesn't even exist. Forbes started with Fortune 500 list in 1995. At that time, average Fortune 500 company needed 20 years to come to $1 billion market value. It took Google 8 years, Facebook 6 years. It took Uber 4, Airbnb 3, Snapchat and Xiaomi 2. Guess what we are waiting now for? We are waiting for the first company in the world that will reach $1 billion market value in 1 year. $1 billion in 1 year. How is it possible? Look at the left-hand side. Look at what happened in plus minus 6 to 7 years in terms of cost of technology drop. Drones going from $100,000 to $700. What does it mean? Now we can talk about selling parcel by drones. Smartphones used to be $500. You have forums and conferences like this where you get smartphone that costs $10 made of cardboard and you throw it away after 2 days. You dispose it. So this is the type of technology advancements. The one I like the most is the sequencing of human genome, which costed $2.3 billion. The budget was $2.7 billion in 2000 when it was made. 7 years later, it was $10 million. Now it's around $1,400. So where does it lead? When this sequencing costs $20, all of us will have our genome sequence in the pocket. And when you will go into the pharmacy, you will not say, I have a flu, I need something. You'll say, this is my DNA. Can you please tell me the right medicine for me only? And this is the future of medicine, personalized medicine. I like that one the best. The other one is showing you what happens once this technology dropped, what is happening in terms of the application. So with drones will definitely change the way we transport things. We transport parcels, we transport pharmaceutical products. People are now even discussing about using drones to transport organs, to avoid heavy traffic and such things. 3D printing. It is being said that manufacturing as we know it today will not exist anymore because you will not need to go to the shopping center and buy a spare part. You will print it at the corner at the 3D print house. Again, the one that fascinated me the most is really even, I don't know, do you have it in Estonia, but in Croatia, we already have cases that patient comes with broken hip. It is being scanned with 3D scanner and a part printed on a 3D printer and then put in a patient's hip. MIT today is working on 3D printers that print food, and some futurists say that in the future we'll also print organs. By the way, for those of you who are looking at what will be happening with future skills and jobs, some of these skills that will be required or that is expected is organ designer. So it goes well together. This shows you how those same companies, how fast they were growing. And when you look, this is how long it took them to reach specific. First, one of the slides before I showed you how long it took them to reach $1 billion. Now you can look at evaluation after few years. And what is interesting, in 2017, for the first time, top 5 global companies by market value are, guess what? IT companies. You can see them here: Apple, Alphabet, Microsoft, Facebook. And the 5th one is Amazon is here. I'll remember later. But 5th, no, Apple is number 1. Alphabet, Microsoft, Facebook. Yeah. I'm missing 5th one, I'll remember. So 5 IT companies are top. 10 years ago, you had banks and oil companies. 10 years before, some manufacturing in oil. So world is changing. And when you look what is happening, you know, intrinsic value is not anymore something built from rocks or solid stuff. In the US, only 15% of the worker population is now used to produce goods, physical goods, 15%. So you can see one of the 5 mega trends, which is big data, what it means to use data as a resource, and the most important resource that we have is now human brain. It's not anymore machinery. So 5 mega trends that are being led and impacting this digital transformation revolution are cloud, mobility, big data, social, and cybersecurity. And it's happening. It's happening to us as professionals. It's happening to us as individuals, as citizens, as consumers. It's just happening. And you don't even see here some other trends like wearables. Already some countries, some ministries of health, or maybe better say private companies, are using wearables to have a control of remote patients. So instead of patient needing to come to a doctor, he or she can wear smart watch or even pen, which sends to the doctor remotely the blood pressure and number of times that heart bumps. And so you can save lots of time. And of course, you can use Skype for Business or some other technology to communicate with patient again, saving time, saving money, and helping people. Another interesting is holographic computing. So when we talk about virtual reality, augmented reality, mixed reality, we talk about holographic computing. It's very interesting when I was looking at workforce, millennials and Generation Z. Generation Z are kids that are mobile first, mobile only. They don't know anything else but mobile. 1/5 of brands, global brands, are thinking of moving their marketing away from mobile. When you think how, what, where, it's about holographic computing. Why to go to the shop and try to 5 or 10 times try some skirt or dress when you can do it with smart glasses or like HoloLens or similar. So these are all technologies that are coming. I didn't talk about autonomous computing. Think about what will happen with car insurance industry, things like this. Now, how fast the world is changing. 1955, Forbes invented or printed the first Fortune 500 list. Out of 500 largest companies at that time, 89% is gone. Sorry. Oops, I hit it. 89% of the company disappeared till now. And we are talking about 500 largest companies in the world. Now, when you look, if you come closer to 2000, 52% are gone. So basically, pace of this disappearance, pace of change is even increasing. What is expected today is that from 500 global fortune companies today's 2017 till 2027, in 10 years, 75% will disappear. Now, if you think, oh, okay, 75%, but if I tell you these Fortune 500 companies, that they have revenue of $27.7 trillion, and they generate around $1.5 trillion profit. They have size, they have muscles, they have knowledge, they have brains. Guess what? 70%, 75% will disappear, either totally or in the form they exist today. Can you imagine? Those are not peanut companies. They contribute to 37% of global GDP. In the US, Fortune 500 US companies have a revenue of $12 trillion and contribute to 2/3 of US GDP. So it's a lot. I forgot to tell you, I wanted to start this, my presentation with one story early in my career. It was a really long time ago. A young banking consultant came and lady said, listen, you know, I worked for the bank and then I decided I want to be my own owner. And I know that after lunch, it's very tough to give presentations. And let me show you what happened to me the first time. She said, you know, she came enthusiastically, started to present. And then she saw one person falling asleep. So he called the person next to him, excuse me. And guy said, yes. Can you please wake up your colleague? He said, who? Me? You put him asleep, you wake him up. So I want to say, if somebody of you falls asleep, don't worry, it's my fault, not yours. Because I'm confident some of you had to sleep fast last night. So basically, world is changing, business is changing, everything around us is changing. Accept it as inevitable. And companies rarely fail or disappear because they're going too fast. Most of the time, they fail because they're going too slow. PwC, PricewaterhouseCoopers, recently did a study with around 2,000 global companies, and basically they found out that 86% of CEOs see digital transformation as their first priority. Another expectation is that at the end of 2017, 2/3 of them will have digital transformation in their strategy. Now, McKinsey came with one very, very interesting finding. I don't know how they found it, but it's very compatible with this 75% of global Fortune 500 companies disappearing in 10 years. They said that 70% of the companies will fail in their digital transformation efforts because they will not be able to wrestle with their own processes, reskill people, manage the model. So, if anybody thinks it's easy, it's not. But it's important to start early, and it's important to think, fail fast, learn fast. Don't be afraid of risk, but start testing, start piloting. Don't start big, but start early. Because if you start later, maybe you won't even need to start. Another thing is, today we have around 8% of global business digital transformation type. By 2020, it's expected that it will be 25%. And there was another study that was looking at these large global companies that did initiate digital transformation initiatives. 340 of them were examined. Average revenue, $3.4 billion. What the study found, that those ones that started with digital transformation initiatives had $100 million more in operating income, $100 million. So if you are working for that company or you are a shareholder, you would like to know that they started with digital transformation initiative. Also, if you would like to work for somebody, it is for young workforce and young generation, they are very clear in their intent that they want to work for companies that are engaged in digital transformation project. Another one, very busy, I have very busy 2 slides, so I will try to move them faster. But I would say that this column is probably the most important one. Digital transformation is not about technology. Digital transformation is about culture change. And if you are not able or won't be able to change your workforce, forget digital transformation. It won't happen. Supercomputers won't help you. Cloud computing won't help you. And by the way, things are even changing faster. So it's not easy to find people with right skills. Question, what kind of people do you hire? Do you hire people who will challenge you as a leader, as a manager, CEO? Or you hire people who nod with their heads? Do you hire people who ask intelligent questions? This is the type of workforce you really want to hire. On the IT side, there is even bigger problem. Because whatever we do in smaller countries, you know, people tend to go to larger countries. At some point in time, 75% of PhD candidates that went from EU to United States did not return back. I don't know what is the situation today. It was 2006. Can you imagine? EU brings people to the PhD level. They go to the US, they don't come back. Why? Bigger projects, more interesting projects, futuristic projects, digital transformation projects. So smaller country, obviously, Germany looks like United States or Austria or similar countries. So all of us have challenges. So what is important that you look as a company in the future workforce, that you make sure that you have right mindset in the workforce, that you have right hiring in the workforce, and that you have continuous reskilling. Because you will have to do it faster and faster. And culture change is key, and it's being led from the top. It's not being led by HR. It has to be led by the top. What you can also see, that artificial intelligence will be embedded into almost any software you will be working with. In Microsoft, we have already initiative where some of the services that will be provided to employees will be done through bots. I don't know if you know what are the bots. Those are artificial and somebody's voice given to the AI, which works from behind. So you have loads of data. Those data is analyzed, and then voice is giving you an information. So today, when you call some of large companies, global companies, you don't talk anymore to call centers in India or Ireland, etc. You talk to a bot. And in Microsoft, we are already starting with the projects where employees, when they will be asking simple questions. They will not be asking specialists. Why would you spend top subject matter expert to answer simple questions? You don't want this. You want top subject matter expert to answer the toughest question, the most challenging questions, to be in the most exciting projects. This can be done by a robot, by AI. I guess what happens? More you ask, better answers. More you ask, more quality answers. And why Microsoft is today, I would say probably, if not the top, on the very top of the partners for digital transformation, because we are going through our own transformation. You'll find lots of consultants that will come with digital transformation consulting. We are doing it on our own just now. And I can tell it's very exciting. I must confess, to work for a company that goes through digital transformation, yes, we work with partners, we work with customers, we tell them transform, but guess what? We also have to transform, because I told you, unless we change, no digital transformation will happen. And it's challenging, but it's fun. And the other one is that, as I said initially with cloud computing, most of initiatives were really driven because of the cost savings. And cost saving is huge. Estimation, we talk about trillions of dollars. But new technologies are even bringing additional opportunities in cost saving. For example, IoT. I don't know if anybody of you is engaged in IoT, so Internet of Things, let's call them sensors, or Internet of Everything. So you put sensors to collect the data. Estimates are that by 2022, IoT will bring around $1 trillion of saving to businesses and consumers in terms of maintenance services and consumables. Some very interesting projects. Today, intentionally, because of shortage of time, I didn't want to put you too many examples that you see projects that we did globally, but very, very exciting things. Cars. Today, cars have around hundreds of sensors. I will tell you one example that I really like very much because it tells how this mindset shifts and how you come with the help of data to a different model. This is about expected expenditure by industry for projects that have disruptive effect. So it's not just we invested IT, so it's $151 billion. And if you ask me what is my first word that if you tell me digital transformation, what I would answer, disruption. Disruption. It means it affects, it changes industries as it exists today. And if you look at Silicon Valley, I don't know, most likely you have, quite a few of you have heard for unicorns. You know, those are the startups that are expected to fetch $1 billion of value when they are launched. Estonia is rich with startups, and those people who are engaged, they know who are unicorns. So today you have to think, will there be some new Uber, Airbnb, Netflix that will come and potentially endanger my business? And today there is almost no industry that is not ready for digital transformation. Now, for those of you who are afraid of cloud, I believe if you read this that I don't repeat, whatever excuse you have, it's obsolete. Does anybody, when was the last time you used word e-business? Did anybody use last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 years? I don't think so. Today we talk, is it private cloud? Is it public cloud? Is it 220? Who cares? You will look for service, and business will look to spend OPEX, not CAPEX. And that's happening. If you don't like it, too bad for you. So I would really like to encourage you, if you are not already experimenting, if you're not using cloud, start immediately. No cloud, no business transformation, no digital transformation. I can vouch for that one. Don't think that you can do it in your old-fashioned IT center. You cannot, because it's not scalable. It's not elastic. You cannot make this TCO as if you would take services from the center that runs hundreds of thousands of servers. And then, what is happening? There is a very good book for those of you who are in IT, and I'm confident that it will happen in other industries, J.B. Woods, Consumption Economics. So basically what's happening, if you look at product era, if you look at cars, if you look at anything, computers, the age was like 7, 8 to 20, 25 years. Companies did not make models because it runs well. Why make it? Look at Volkswagen Bug. How we call it bug in Croatia. I don't know how you call it. This old-fashioned Volkswagen car. Beetle. Recently, it was withdrawn from production. It was ages. Now, look what's happening in disruption era. It's 1 to 3 years, and guess what is bad? The destruction of value is very fast. So if you are buying some service like this, it's very likely that somebody else will come with the same service cheaper or with more innovative service that has something else at the same price. So value destruction is huge. And if you're in services industry, you better start thinking on and on. Even when you believe you are on the top of the hill, you are winning, think about how to move. Because there is classical innovators dilemma. I don't know if you have heard what's the biggest problem for innovators. When business is going well, you say, why change? Everything is going well. And when business starts going down, it's too late to change. Because when you should start change? When things are going well. Because you can financing it. You have momentum. You have excitement from people. Yes, it's tough to go through changes all the time, but trust me, when it goes down, it's too late. And traditional approach, this is me and this is my competition, does not work anymore. New players are coming. You don't even know who will come. I mean, I must confess I was surprised when I saw Deutsche Telekom selling electrical energy. or largest retail chain in Croatia building gas stations, but it happens. So you never know when this competition will come. So when you look at types of changes that you have, basically only these upper two you can call digital transformation. The low one was where you digitally transform your existing business. So you come in and you start changing components, and the other one is you are starting totally separate business. For example, if you're a bank, you start transforming some process. For example, the way how you listen to social listening with your customers and you interconnect with the highly integrated CRM. And then you say, by the way, let's open e-bank, which will not be anymore in Estonia, but will be global. So that will be two types. Obviously, new business has the highest chance to survive for some time, but then again, new competition comes, somebody else appears. So destruction of value happens, and you have to be on the move again. And important things with such things, what for me means think big. Don't think about, this is difficult, it's impossible. We don't know how to do it. Forget, when you are talking about ideas, forget about difficulties. Now, big data. So I was talking about cloud, a little bit about technology in mobile phones. Big data. So 2006, 0.16 zettabytes. I always have to think zettabytes because I remember time when scientists had to, I believe I have to speed up, when they had to invent three prefixes like peta, exa, zeta, iota, to add 12 zeros to be able to show how quickly data is exploding. So if I then speed up, today we expect in 2020 44 zettabytes of data. Zeta or zeta is a prefix that has 21 zeros behind. When I was in school, billion was huge, 9 zeros. Now we are talking about 21 zero and growing. And by 2016, last year, 30% of the organization were expected to start monetizing their data. This is why Microsoft decided to change. We decided to change our mission. We decided to transform ourselves, and we said that our new mission is to empower every individual, every company on the globe to do more. And then we changed our other strategies. We decided to redesign the processing, redesign how productivity works. I'm okay. To build intelligent cloud, I showed you these data centers, and we are on a good way. And the response from customer is showing this. Also, what we did in terms of digital transformation, we identified 4 areas where businesses can digitally transform. One is in engaging your customers. In fact, I rather like engaging your customers. Customers, I thought I would tell you one case from Croatia, but I'll skip it due to time. Another one is empowering employees, how to make sure your employees are productive, collaborative, and work efficiently in a safe way. Optimizing processes, I guess this is bothering everybody, and transforming your own products into something that competition doesn't have. This is the case that I wanted to talk about, just in the transform your product area. When Rolls-Royce called Microsoft and said, listen, we are building a data warehouse, can you help us? Why are you building? We are having sensors on the planes. What could we do with data? So we helped them design how would I call it, dashboard, interactive dashboard that at every point in time they see all the flights in the world that carry Rolls-Royce engines. What is the biggest challenge for airliners? Cost of fuel, because if you have headwind or you are in a wrong height, you spend lots of high octane gasoline, it costs a lot. If you land and then unexpectedly plane have to go for maintenance, you spend lots of money, you have to bring another plane. So what Rolls-Royce was able to tell on the spot to the pilot, listen, you are spending too much gasoline, I can see on your chart, go up or lower decision, or go against headwind, you're flying against headwind, go 1,000 meters higher or lower. So they were able to control the consumption of gasoline, and they were able to predict when maintenance will be required, so that it's not unplanned, rather we are planning to do proactive maintenance of the plane, please have a backup. Guess what? Rolls-Royce doesn't sell engines anymore. They sell hours in the air. What does it mean for customer? Fantastic, we don't own engines, who cares, you fix it. For Rolls-Royce, they're selling IP, intellectual property. It's a dream job. Everybody is in OPEX. Customer is paying the amount when and how they use, and the IP owner is Rolls-Royce. I like this case really very much. This is what we do when we come to customers. We sit with them, help them make their own book of dreams, what they want to do in future. We then help them identify and choose people to run innovation, and then we create factory. We create the ability to execute those dreams. This is what we do. And I will use few more minutes just to address fifth global megatrend, which is security. And I thought, because the name of this conference is Security Day, doubt that maybe security is not the main topic, I wanted to show you a little bit of things that we in Microsoft do. Why do I want to show you? Because we invest around $1 billion a year in anything related to security protection. So, the one thing, you will find this number, 210, 240 days, different number of days. But can you imagine the average number of days since intruder came into your system and until he or she or they were found is 7 months? Can you think about this? Imagine somebody is walking in your house for 7 months, you didn't notice. This is what is happening in IT. And challenge average cost is around $3 million. How many times you heard somebody say, hey, we lost money? You will not hear this because companies are embarrassed, especially financial institutions. So when you read press with security analysts, people that are in this business, they'll tell you that hackers are winning. And I'll tell you why. And what is happening? So the nature of cyber hacking, that was usually ransom, we want you to pay, changed. High-level game, stealing trade secrets. Even the institutions that were most secure, that invested the most, defense industry and similar, they have also been hacked. So the game changed, and if you remember, few weeks ago, WannaCry, there was a targeted attack hidden within the ransom virus. So people thought, we fixed ransom, we are safe. But targeted execution stayed behind. So attacks are becoming more and more sophisticated. And I like this saying, basically what person said, that there are two kinds of companies in the world. Those that have been hacked, and there's those that don't know that they have been hacked. So you have to think that if you think you will not be hacked, and I find lots of customers, especially IT, saying, we are okay. We had intrusion, but we are okay. No, you are not okay. If you had intrusion, you are not okay. And this is the reason why there is a challenge today in protecting, because defenders think as defenders instead of thinking as attackers. So as long as you have this mismatch in attack and defense, it will happen. This is what happens if you are an organization. You have some IT equipment, servers, it could be in country, it can be around the world. And if you go a little bit further in the network, they are spread. And if you go to every laptop, PC, mobile device you have, it looks like this. It could be thousands, it could be tens of thousands. How attacker thinks? Attacker will identify one's weak spot. Everybody can be weak spot. You forgot to change your password, or it's simple, it was possible to crack it. And then we'll jump through the network to the objective and then drop the bomb. So attacker thinks in maps, in network. How defenders think? If I ask you, tell me about cybersecurity, you'll say, we have firewall, we have antivirus, we have plan, we have response team. But you are not thinking as attacker. So there is a mismatch. As long as you think like this, you lose. And my customers said, can you draft me a picture of your network? And they said no. I said, oops, how can you defend something that you don't know how it looks like? So then what happens? You have those questions that people cannot answer. They cannot. Think about your network. If you cannot draft it now and define every device where it is, you have a problem. Now look what's happening. Normal person, this is the new taxonomy. I'm confident that most of the people have heard for DOS or DDoS. Ransom, fine, you pay money and somebody stole your money from the bank account and company said losses this. But imagine if you are a company, high engineering company with big reputation, you are creating engines, somebody comes into your system and changes the plan of the engine and you don't know it, changes your documentation about your criminal record or something like this. So huge challenges. This is what happens. Every data breach starts with identity breach. You will always have in companies people who will hit wrong email, open wrong attachment, it happens. And I will, for the sake of closing fast, I like this chart, you know, people usually are very, very nice. I mean, you can never create total awareness of everybody, but awareness, education, making sure people understand. Without holistic view on cybersecurity, you cannot win. So what we in Microsoft do, we have identified 4 areas that you have to protect. Starts with identity, then device, then data, and infrastructure. And what we do globally with our, sorry, it's in the time. What we did first, we do have, I would say, heritage, how to do the updates, how to defend, how to be proactive. Why? Because we have 300 billion user authentication a month. So when you look at the numbers are huge. We have a billion Windows stations that we continuously update globally. So system exists, and based on this experience, we have defined this 4-pillar program. I don't want to be here like seller, but it is a set of tools in Windows Defender, in Office 365, and in Azure that basically promotes and protects, help you protect your system. And again, no cloud, no cybersecurity protection. Trust me on that one. Most of the people say, we don't want to go into cloud because of cybersecurity. I have customers who went to cloud because of cybersecurity. And then what we do, we basically have a framework how to protect, how to detect, and how to proactively respond. So Microsoft has Cyber Defense Operation Unit, which does this, and we also have Digital Crime Unit that cooperates with governments and global security institutions on chasing attackers. I do hope that you got some ideas. I do hope that you have even more questions to yourself about your digital future. Think about that butterfly and where you want to end up. And I hope it was interesting and that not too many people fell asleep. Thank you.
I've never heard so many big numbers before. Thank you. And thank you for a nice overview. Me otsustasime, et saaks kauge külani. Yes?
To say
yes.
That following this presentation, maybe it's not okay for my colleague who is successor, but for those of you who are very afraid of privacy implication in Beta Gamma's presentation on GDPR. Do you know what is GDPR? General Data Protection, General Directive on Privacy Regulation. May 2018, if you have a business, you don't know what it is, you may have a huge problem. So, just that you know.
Thank you.